Reconnect and heal today. Welcome to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, broadcasting in 136 countries, and Dr. Turndorf Turn on the Love on Binge Networks television, and we're also live streaming on YouTube over the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network page on YouTube. Sorry, we had a little bumpy, what was it? That actress, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride, right? We had a bumpy start, but we're with you now. And we're going to be talking about what your skin reveals in terms of what's ailing you on the inside. So not only is your skin the largest organ in the body, it does extremely important work to protect your body against water loss, microorganisms, and sun damage, not to mention maintaining a youthful complexion. Did you know that the more hydration in your skin, the better electrical conductance? A healthy, glowing skin relates to more than just appearance, but also indicates the energetic capacity of the skin and your internal organs. Organs. So ill health, bad diet, traumas, or excessive stress will usually show telltale damaging signs in the skin, causing it to look dry and pallid or to become inflamed with psoriasis, eczema, rashes, and dermatitis symptoms. And over time, if not nutritionally replenished, the skin can age prematurely, losing its collagen structures, developing rosacea and spider veins, and losing elasticity. And that means sagging and getting more wrinkly. And even worse, excessive sun damage can lead to melanomas. So today we're going to talk about how you can maintain a youthful complexion and protect against premature skin aging. And we're also going to talk about how you can decipher what your skin may be saying to you about the overall health of your mind and body. So I want to introduce you once again to my dear friend Sandy Sanderson. She has a Bachelor of Arts from the University of New South Wales and postgrad studies in business and marketing. She's a publisher of the month on the Gold Coast magazine. It's the publisher of this month on the Gold Coast magazine, and that was until 2009. Founder and CEO, of course, of Electromagnesium from 2008 to this present moment. And after her own health crisis in 2006 from years of stress overload and shift working as a magazine publisher, Sandy discovered that magnesium deficiency was the primary cause of her stress-related conditions. And without enough magnesium, cell metabolism and recovery is diminished. So it's what helped Sandy recover was transdermal magnesium. It helped her reverse her heart arrhythmia and other symptoms of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So without further ado, welcome back, Sandy.
Yes. Hi, Jamie. Good to be back.
Yeah,
sorry about the little hiccup. That was my fault. My
no,
new
it's nobody's
microphone.
fault. It just happens. It happens. What can I say? Forget about it, as they say in New York.
Yeah, well, we'll get right into it. So your skin is the outside window to the inside of your body. So we when we feel bad, when we're sick on the inside, it shows on the skin. We get gray and pallid and, dry and pasty looking. And it's an indicator of what's going on the inside, just like when you go to the doctor and you stick your tongue out and it's got a film on it. So these are signs and symptoms that the body organism isn't doing very well. And skin is super, super important. It's the biggest organ of the body. And a lot of people don't realize it's very absorbent. It excretes, and then it also can absorb substances in through the skin. So the channels that open and close. And if you put toxic elements on the skin, such as, makeup, which has got
Parabens.
toxins, parabens, petrochemicals in there, that you can over time destroy not only your skin layer, but those substances are absorbed inside the body. So the skin's not just like an outside piece of plastic, just not like your clothes you can take on and off. It is the outermost extremity of your body, of the rest of your body.
And they say that your skin is the main organ, the major organ of absorption and elimination. People don't think of it that way. Yeah.
That's right. It's huge surface area. So it's very interesting structure when you have a look at the skin. It's kind of made up of layers. So the outside layer is the stratum corneum. It's made up of a lot of corneocytes. So they're cells that have moved from underneath to the surface and got dried out and a little bit, some of them dead. And they're a little bit harder and tougher, and they form the outside mechanical barrier. Some call it the horny layer because it's a little bit like thicker. And, you know, if you bump yourself, you don't want to destroy your skin. It has to be resilient. It has to be elastic.
So wait a minute. We want a horny layer.
You want a horny layer. But
I'm not going to say another word. That's all.
Yeah.
You know me. But we want a horny layer. We want it.
It's very important to look after the skin, and it also conducts electrons. So it has an electrical flow on the outside, which I found very interesting. And scientists have found that the more juicy and the more lubricated, here we go again, the more lubricated the skin, the more it conducts those electrons, the more energetic the skin becomes. We don't often think of the skin as energetic, but it is, and it needs that that kind of that's why we look at people that are very healthy and they have a kind of a glow to the skin. What we're picking up is the energy that's from the inside out and from the outside in. You're picking up the electrical field of that body. When the skin is very dry and that outside horny layer kind of peels up a little bit, the corners peel up and you get those little dry bits that stick up, it interrupts the flow of the electrons. It's not smooth anymore. So you get a decrease in the energy of that skin layer.
So, and also, does that mean also you get a decrease in protection?
Yes, absolutely. So we rely very much on the skin barrier to protect the body, as you said before, from microorganisms entering, and, you know, from sun as well, and from drying out excessively. So drying out excessively and sun damage are kind of related. Both of them remove the water content, and we rely heavily on good moisturization and good water content inside. So that outer layer, underneath that outer layer is the epidermis. So there's a graduation there, and all of that layer needs to be quite moist. And to hold the moisture in, we need to have lipids. So fats hold the moisture in, like kind of like a bladder. And when we don't have enough fats, the body isn't producing enough fats, often because the microcapillaries underneath aren't reaching or aren't delivering enough nutrients to that outside skin layer. It starts to build up the dead skins too much, and it starts to lose that communication, that energetic communication. So we need the good fats to keep everything moisturized. The skin has a normal exfoliation process. You don't even notice it. If everything is going well, dead skin cells fall off. And you might notice a little bit in the bath if you have a really good soak, and there's some dead skin cells left over in the drain as it's going down. But other than that, you don't really notice the natural exfoliation. So when people do skin cleansing, I remember in the old days, we used to have cleansers that exfoliants that had like crushed apricot kernel shells or some kind of roughness. And that certainly would exfoliate the outside dead skin cells, and that allows the new skin skin cells to come up and be nice and juicy and spongy and elastic and fresh and new. But what would happen over time is that would scrape the underneath epidermis, and it would actually do micro damage to that skin layer. So then they came out with cleansers and exfoliants that had little round plastic balls in them, which were nice and gentle, and they didn't, scrape anything. But then we ended up with lots of microplastics in the ocean. So that wasn't good.
And also, you're going to be absorbing some of the plastic through your skin. It's inevitable.
You can. And it's unfortunately, I read it's also in the food supply.
Yeah.
Fish eat it. So when we eat fish, there's so many good things in fish. Now we have to be careful of the mercury and the microplastics.
I tell you what, I'm just eating watermelon today. Right. So when the more you know, the more it makes it difficult, because you're thinking, I can't put this on me, I can't ingest that. And you just do the best you can, is all you can do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you said the watermelon fast. That's a good way to have a good clean out. And if your system gets clogged on the inside, it does show also on the skin as well. And your skin, so not only do we clean from the inside out, but from the outside in. So I just mentioned the cleansers for the skin. And there's a lot of similarities with the epidermal cells of the skin. It's the inside, the digestive system also has epithelial cells. It has a membrane. It has a membrane that absorbs nutrients. So the inside tube from your mouth to your backside is really still the outside of the body in a sense. And it has microorganisms that live there, that make colonies, that look after and make sure that the skin or the epidermal layer of the intestine, for instance, are well looked after and maintained, and the debris is removed. And then we have to have on the inside tube, a mucus layer, which makes it nice and slippery, and foods can pass through quickly and easily. And so on the outside layer of our skin, in a similar way, we have microorganisms. They vary. They're a little bit different to the digestive organs. You don't want, to digest on the outside, but you do want to be able to look after the barrier of the skin. So those functions are a little bit different.
Sandy, I was just thinking of something. You know how often we see people with rashes, eczema, psoriasis, and they don't make the connection that so often that's due to the bowel. And that when you're seeing your skin all inflamed and with these skin conditions, something's not right with the bowel. It's very diagnostic.
It is very telling for someone who knows what to look for. So it's an organ of excretion. So normally you think of excretion as you digest your food and it goes out the poop chute at the back, and that's your elimination, your poop and your pee. But there's a lot more that happens with excretion. So the skin excretes perspiration, for instance, and in that perspiration is contained water and electrolytes and waste products. So it takes largely the waste products from the lymph system. So the lymph in the body is another circulatory system which transports clear fluid, lymph fluid, and that mainly contains protein wastes from all the cells in the network of the body. And normally via the liver, it would dump those wastes into the intestine, and then they would be removed in the feces. But if something goes wrong with that digestive system, and then the liver becomes overloaded and it's not performing its normal function as it should to optimal capacity, then some of the wastes of the body tries to get rid of it through the lymph system via the skin network, because the lymph runs down the middle and the sides of the body, and around the glands under the arms and down the groin. So all of those areas can be more prone to having rashes or some kind of skin eruptions, because these substances, if they're very acidic coming out of the skin, can actually cause an inflammation. Because acids dissolve, so you don't want to have too much dissolving going on where it shouldn't be dissolving, and that can breach the skin barrier. So when your skin barrier is breached, microorganisms can get in and cause havoc, then start to munch on you, and that triggers the immune system, because you have what's called in the epidermis also, on the outside there are corneocytes and underneath are keratinocytes. They're a little bit more moist, and that layer has melanocytes, which is your melanin, the color of your skin, and also Langerhans cells, and they're part of the immune system. So they sound an alarm, warning, warning, breach of the outside skin barrier. So if you cut yourself accidentally, you've stepped on something, you've been punctured by an insect.
That is so interesting what you're saying, because I can confirm I'm so tuned, right? It's so sensitive. Yesterday I was working with crazy glue and the glove broke, but I didn't know it. And the crazy glue touched my skin. And I suddenly felt, warning, warning, almost like a mini panic. And it started to burn. It was my brain was sending the exact signal that you're describing.
Yes, so action, some kind of action required to fix the problem. Right. And then your immune system kicks into action. Obviously, the stress levels that you feel are the stress hormones, making you take some action, get a bandage, clean it up, do whatever you have to do. And so cleaning the wound is really important. And you might get an insect bite and it might feel itchy. That itchiness is a toxin being injected by, for instance, a mosquito or whatever insect bit you. Could be a spider bite. And, if, funnily enough, people think, oh, it's just a little insect, and they might ignore it. And then the infection takes over. And before you know it, it can get quite serious and become a big infection and, cause sepsis. So once the infection then reaches the internal bloodstream, that can become quite serious infection. So we don't really want outside infections to pass deeper and deeper into the body. And so when you do get a puncture in that skin layer, make sure to treat it well. Cleanse it and wash it, and you can use iodine or another similar preparation that kills the bad bacteria that may be around that surface area to help keep the wound clean. And you put a Band-Aid on it.
Peroxide yes. is really, really good for this because it bubbles up and really cleans deeply. Yeah,
that really, really gets those pathogens.
Yeah,
they don't like the oxygen.
Right.
So and then you keep it clean and you keep it protected.
I'm scratching. You see, I'm all wiggly because you're talking about insect bites. I just was bitten by a mosquito. I'm confirming everything. Okay, so then I'm going to have to, leave now and go. I never think bites, but it's right. They puncture your skin. They do.
If it's just a superficial thing, it should heal up quite quickly. In a day or two, your skin is healed over, and it's magical what happens. You're actually watching this skin morph from one condition into another.
Exactly.
How magical is that?
Before we break, I just wanted to say something before I forget. We talk about the sun is so drying and damaging to the horny layer. So go sunscreen, but we have to talk about that when we come back, why sunscreen is not the way to go. So I want to remember that. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back in a moment on Love Never Dies Radio and Dr. Turndorf. Turn on the love on Binge Networks TV and YouTube. Be back to you in a moment.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
Hi, it's Dr. Jamie Turndorf. Did you know all it takes is one stress, one accident, or one illness to trigger PTSD? Did you know that all the stress associated with the pandemic has created what I call the new global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome? And don't be so quick to say, I don't have PTSD, because many conditions like depression, anxiety, pain syndrome, sleep disorders, and sexual dysfunctions are actually PTSD in disguise. And don't be fooled. Even after the pandemic is behind us, your PTSD will not go away by itself. Don't despair. In my latest book, If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again, I share a simple, research-backed, drug-free remedy for reversing the global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome. This is a solution your doctor doesn't likely know about. Read If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again today, and be on the road to recovery right away.
If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again became a #1 international bestseller within 24 hours of its publication. Grab your copy on Amazon and find out why.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you yearn to get along better with your life partner or spouse, friends, family members, and even coworkers, Dr. Turndorf's book, Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, Dr. Love's 10 Simple Steps to Cooling Conflict and Rekindling Your Relationship, shows you how to turn conflict into connection for a lifetime of lasting love. Find out more about Kiss Your Fights Goodbye at AskDrLove.com. This is Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. This show is for you, the listener. Once again, here's Dr. Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And Dr. Turndorf, turn on the love on Binge Networks TV and our YouTube live feed. We're talking about how your skin reveals what ails you, and then we're going to be getting into more of what we can do to actually address whatever symptoms we're getting. So Sandy, before we took the break, I said, let's talk a bit about the sunscreen.
Well, yes. So, but a little bit before the sunscreen, so we did talk about putting, not putting chemicals on your body, such as, perhaps makeup with toxins in it. Sunscreens also contain oxybenzoates and some other not advantageous chemicals. So they're synthetic chemicals the body really doesn't know what to do with, and they cause problems and build up over time. And as they build up, they become more and more toxic to the liver. And here they are. You think, oh, it's just, on the surface, it's not going to go anywhere, but it's very wrong. It does go inside the body. So there are some natural sunscreens that manufacturers have developed over time. So it does pay to have a look, read the ingredients.
With it's magnesium oxide, I think, or I use the Badger brand just for the face, and it's got a zinc oxide.
Zinc oxide. So that's the old zinc cream. The surfers used to put it across their face and their nose because that was the most exposed area, and that would protect them. That white strip across the face. And now they make the clear versions, so you don't have to have the white strip. So there's other ways.
Sun. Because if you're blocking the sun, you're blocking all the vitamin D production, the immune boosting. So you do want the sun to come into your skin without the sunscreen.
That's right. So you would use the zinc cream sparingly on the more sensitive parts of your face and your nose and the things that protrude, because that skin on the face is more sensitive and a little bit thinner compared to the rest of the body. The skin on the rest of the body can take a little bit more pounding. So let's go to the beach. because we need minerals, right? And we need some sunshine, and we need everything coming together. When you go to the beach and you have a little paper cut on your finger and you go swimming, you feel that paper cut. Oh, there's a little bit of a spike, and you feel that tiny little sting. And you remember, oh yeah, that's where I had a paper cut today. Then you forget about it. It kind of goes away. And lo and behold, by the end of the day or in the morning, you go, where was that paper cut? There's nothing there anymore. It's gone. So the minerals of the ocean, which comprise a lot of magnesium chloride, are doing their work by being absorbed by the skin. And as the skin gets moisture and electrolytes, plenty of them, it can use those to rebuild the skin cells. The skin is made of about 70% proteins, different kinds of proteins. You have keratin, collagen. Collagen is like a scaffolding, and forms a netting to hold the skin structure together. And you have elastin. Elastin then helps those collagen structures be more flexible and stretchy. And, if you stretch it and pull it one way, it'll bounce back the other way. And they're all proteins, and they need to be made using magnesium. You can't synthesize protein without enough magnesium. So usually when people are deficient in magnesium, over time the skin tends to get thinner, and the collagen systems start to break down, and we get more sensitive, because as we lose the collagen structures in the outer layers, the nerve endings get too close to the surface. So you can get spider veins and rosacea, and, lots of, and more easily breach that skin barrier with very small things. And instead of the skin being resilient netting that protects you a lot more from bumps and things that happen to you as you move past the desk. So let's go back to the beach. And so you've repaired your little paper cut there in the ocean. Then you come out and you do some sunbathing. And a little bit's okay. The average person can easily do 15, 20 minutes. But then the harshness depends how strong the sun is, of course. But over time, it can dry the skin up too much, and we lose the moisture content. You lose the moisture content, the skin barrier starts to become breached, starts to break down, and you get too much UV radiation damage. That's not good. That's not protected. So to extend the time that you can be out in the sun just that little bit longer, you need to have some kind of protection for the skin layer, so it's not losing its moisture content so quickly. And that would be, people used to put the nice, the coconut oil on, and used to have a really slippery body on the beach, which maybe today is not so cool anymore, like it was in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
On the beach here where we are on the Gold Coast, there was a guy that went round with a spray bottle of oil, and he would give all the tourists a free spray while they were sunbathing.
But I always thought that the coconut oil was so shiny that it somehow attracted the sun's rays.
Well, yeah, a little bit like basting a chicken.
Right.
So a little bit is good, and then you get too much, which is not so good. So everything is all about balance.
Yeah, really.
So what we've done is create magnesium cream, which is not only a moisturizer, but it's really good too. It's got like loads and loads of plant oils and butters with different profiles of omega-3, 6, 9. It's a really nice balance. So your skin absorbs it well, and it doesn't stay on the outside of the skin. It actually moves to that inside epidermal layer to bring with it not only good fats, but moisture and magnesium that's infused with those fats. So they're all the ingredients, all the basic ingredients the skin needs to support its structure, its moisturization, and its protection. Obviously, there's a limit to everything. This just allows you to stretch things out a little bit longer. And why that's good is it because these nutrients don't block the skin. They don't block the healthy radiation coming from the sun, which you need to trigger the skin cells. So the melanin cells in the skin need to be triggered so that they start producing more melanin. And that's what gives you a tan. But you need to be supporting that skin barrier so that it's got all the benefits of the sunshine combined with the fats and the magnesium coming together to then make the vitamin D. So your best most potent, best quality vitamin D is produced in the skin, not necessarily in tablets, although you can get vitamin D from tablets, but the most easily usable vitamin D is made in the skin using cholesterol sulfate and magnesium and sunshine.
And I was just thinking, since so many people around the world have compromised digestion, if you take a vitamin D supplement, you may not be absorbing it well, but the sun straight on the skin, you bypass your digestion and you're getting that vitamin D.
Yes, so the skin can store vitamin D inside the epidermal layer for quite a number of hours before the little capillaries absorb it. So underneath the epidermis, that's your outside layer, underneath that is the dermis. The dermis contains blood vessels and the lymph and these connecting tube networks of the body, and also the nerve cells. So that's where you feel pain in that layer. So that dermis connects with the underside, the epidermis. So the epidermis is like a skin reservoir. It's like a dinner plate. It will hold nutrients in, particularly if there's good fats available, good lipids. Lipid content holds in those nutrients longer, and it stores it so that the cells underneath and the blood vessels can absorb what they need over time naturally. So nothing's being pushed into the body prematurely or unnaturally. It's a dinner plate like a smorgasbord, and the body absorbs exactly what it needs for the process. Now, if you're putting a lot of sunshine onto it, it's a kind of a stress. It's a good stress for a period of time, the stress that we need to make the vitamin D. Then you don't want to overdo it. Then you've got to go in, and they say not to wash your skin straight away because you want that vitamin D to really sink into the deeper levels of the skin. And just the same way it's being held in the epidermis, the same way that it can hold magnesium ions and lipids, it holds the vitamin D ready for when the body needs to draw it into the interior of the body.
And giving us so much, because it's really, the vitamin D is a hormone and it helps our immune system so much. So really important.
It's connected also with the production of DHEA as well, which is the beginning of the hormone cascade. And so, if you've had some time on the beach, you've had the electrolytes and the magnesium and the sunshine and all that oxygen, you just feel so good because everything is coming together. All the things that your body needs for good health come together in that one space. We can't always go to the beach though. So
I know, because I'm all grumpy now because 11 days ago I went in and those larval jellyfish stung me all over, but you can't see them because they're microscopic. Then the eye swelled. Then I got a sty. So I'm a miserable girl right now. I want to go in the ocean and get rid of all this. But sometimes you have to do workarounds. So then it's the magnesium baths. Yeah.
Bath or a foot soak. Some people need to conserve the water or they don't even have a bath. So foot soaking is just as good. The feet are very absorbent. So you can use a tablespoon of magnesium flakes in the water and sit for 20 or 30 minutes. So you can read a book, watch TV, listen to music. On your computer, my son loves to have his bucket of magnesium water under his computer while he does his thing.
That reminds me of the old song we used to sing as kids. But there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. Don't use a bucket with a hole. And what I found is really cool is you can soak your feet and then you can give yourself a pedicure because they're already pre-pedicured.
Yes, it softens everything up. And the interesting thing is if you do a foot soak a couple of times a week with the magnesium, the dead skin doesn't build up those big layers. So without it, people tend to get this crusty heel. It's like a second shoe. And then it can form cracks. And then, some people bleed from those areas because it cracks open and breaches that skin barrier.
To come full circle again, I don't remember where I read it, but that those cracks on the heel, the thick calluses, are also linked to the gut. It's a symptom when the skin gets really thick and dry on the bottom, the heels of your feet, you have digestive problems, a microbiome imbalance, you know?
Yes. And if there are digestive problems, two things can happen. You're not absorbing enough nutrients, and there's a buildup of toxic waste products that the body's not eliminating properly. So it's always or ill health is always about two things: not properly taking out the garbage and not getting enough nutrient supply.
That's so well said. That is so well said. So we're not going to take out the garbage right now. We're just going to take a quick break. Be back with you in a moment.
Hi, it's Dr. Jamie Turndorf. Did you know all it takes is one stress, one accident, or one illness to trigger PTSD? Did you know that all the stress associated with the pandemic has created what I call the new global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome? And don't be so quick to say, I don't have PTSD, because many conditions like depression, anxiety, pain syndrome, sleep disorders, and sexual dysfunctions are actually PTSD in disguise. And don't be fooled. Even after the pandemic is behind us, your PTSD will not go away by itself. Don't despair. In my latest book, If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again, I share a simple, research-backed, drug-free remedy for reversing the global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome. This is a solution your doctor doesn't likely know about. Read If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again today, and be on the road to recovery right away.
If You Think You Don't Have PTSD, Think Again became a #1 international bestseller within 24 hours of its publication. Grab your copy on Amazon and find out why.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you can't stop crying over the bodily loss of a loved one, Dr. Turndorf's #1 international bestseller, Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased, will show you how to toss out the tissues and transform your grief into joy using her groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique that enables you to reconnect and even heal unfinished business with those in spirit without the assistance of a medium, channeler, or psychic. Sign up for Dr. Love's free newsletter at AskDrLove.com and receive an exciting gift, a free excerpt of Love Never Dies. And now, back to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV, and we're streaming live also. I'm with Sandy Sanderson, and we're talking about what your skin tells you about what's going wrong, what's ailing you deeper inside the body. So, Sandy, what else would you like people to know that we haven't yet covered?
So we touched a little bit on about the necessity to detox properly and to eliminate waste, and that the largest organ of the body, the skin, is often involved in detoxification. And so we don't really understand sometimes or relate to the pimples and acne and abscesses as, you know, what we think, oh, that's hormonal. But, you know, think about what happens that time of the month when you have a period. Your body is detoxing in a way. It's shedding from the uterus blood particles that shouldn't be there anymore, and they've beyond their expiry date and they have to go. And so hormonal changes in the body can cause the lymph to excrete extra waste products. And you see it sometimes with young people, teenagers, they have a more pimply skin because they've got massive hormone changes happening in the body, sometimes too much testosterone, and you know, sometimes too much estrogen, and it's all over the place. And also if the body's metabolism is very high, they're producing a lot more waste products. They might get more smelly. They might be excreting more waste products, which then, so your waste products that come out from under the armpits, for instance, from those lymph glands, contain protein wastes, which then attract bacteria, and what causes body odor is the bacterial poop. And the more waste products you excrete that way, the more potentially bacteria you attract and the smellier you get. And so obviously take a shower and, you know, clean up. But the deodorant issue has become quite big over the years because we hopefully used to, and it's dying out now, use a lot of aluminium-based deodorants to not only prevent odor or mask the odor, but to block perspiration. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want an antiperspirant. You don't want things to stop your glands from excreting, because that's a natural process that has a trigger event and, you know, stops other things from happening. And the other thing is you don't want to absorb the aluminium particles into the body, which is exactly what happens from under the armpits. That's like a major vector to get into the body. And aluminium over time, as the heavy metals, or the toxic metals rather, are accumulated over time in the tissue cells, they can actually migrate into the brain. And people with Alzheimer's later in life, they found that there's a lot of aluminium that gets deposited in the brain associated with Alzheimer's.
Yep.
So we don't want those metals depositing in our tissue cells. We want to excrete. We don't want to absorb them in the first place, if possible. And we need to keep the body very healthy and clean for it to do its job properly. And so when you find you've been using magnesium over weeks and months, you find that if you used to have body odor, it gets less and less. You don't excrete that many wastes anymore because other systems are working better. The digestive system starts to kick in better, the elimination system. You'd have to have magnesium to make glutathione and superoxide dismutase. These are really important antioxidant enzymes that chelate out, you know, chemicals and heavy metals and waste products that shouldn't be in the body. They're really good cleaner-uppers. You need magnesium to make them. And if you've had a lot of stress and you're low in magnesium, your detoxification system suffers because you can't make enough of these antioxidant enzymes to remove the waste products enough.
You know, it's so true what you're saying. And, you know, in my new PTSD book, I say almost every disease or condition is a magnesium deficiency in disguise. And that includes our skin conditions. Magnesium is needed in 1,040 enzymatic body functions. And so when we're low in magnesium, other systems fail, which is what you're saying.
It's literally the master mineral and associated with more jobs in the body, as you said, than any other mineral, singularly. And that's because of its role by helping the mitochondria to make ATP. So adenosine triphosphate is the energy currency. So to make energy, to do metabolism, the body has to have enough magnesium. If you're low in magnesium, the mitochondria slow down the production of ATP, because ATP without magnesium, it becomes toxic, and they can die from ATP without magnesium. So your energy systems ratchet backwards. You get fatigued and feel listless and low energy. And people associate depression also, which we talked about in another show. That's just the brain not having enough energy. The whole body systems are deprived of energy. When magnesium gets lower, metabolism suffers. And the skin is an energetic organ as well, and it needs the energy to do its job properly, to clean and to excrete and to absorb and to be healthy and protect your inner sanctum from outside intrusions. So you need a very healthy body. And, when the skin is healthy, it's a sign that your inner organs are also doing well. And we kind of look at people's skin as, oh, they're beautiful. Oh, look at their skin. And we make a judgment that they're a healthy body. And I think women look at good-looking men and they look at their skin, and we have olfactory senses that pick up the pheromones that come out of the skin. And this gives us an indication of what's happening on the inside of the body. Are they healthy? Is their microbiome good? We pick up all those messages, those chemical messages from our olfactory senses, from touch, and that's a big one too. So the skin and its little nerve endings are when they're sensitive to touch, they pick up a lot of messages. We release beautiful chemicals in the body that make us feel really good from touch, which is why massage is so good, so relaxing. Not only does it push the circulation around and the lymph system, and the massage, if you use magnesium cream, for instance, you help pushing the magnesium deeper into the muscle tissue. It helps the body transport it faster to the areas that are needed in the body that need the magnesium. So massage is very calming and relaxing, and I think couples should do it for one another. Give each other swap massages because it's so lovely. It helps you forget all the stresses of the day. Magnesium is so calming for the heart. And when you feel calm and relaxed and you feel really good from that relaxation, from getting away from the stress, couples need that more and more these days, because if not, they bring the stress home, then they get cranky and they argue with their partner and the children suffer, and the household becomes disrupted simply because people can't detach from the stress that they've picked up during the day. So don't bring it home or leave it at the door, and pick up some magnesium. I say to all the mums, just dose all your kids, dose your husband, dose everyone with magnesium to chill them right out. And you'll find that they argue less, they're more easygoing, they're calmer and happier people. So and we can do all of that from the outside in with our skin, and it's very sensitive to touch, as I was saying before. So hugging is really important. Hugging babies, hugging children. They've done a lot of research now to show just by hugging babies in an orphanage that they thrive better, they grow better, they're healthier. And so they have volunteer huggers that come in and do daily hugging of those babies, because they don't have parents to do that hugging. So I can't stress enough how important it is, the touch sensitivity aspect of the skin for our health and well-being. We need to receive love, and that's how we pick up those sensations, through the skin.
Through the hugging. It's so funny, Cindy, because when I help people reconnect with their loved ones in spirit, and obviously they always say to me, but I miss the physical contact. I miss the hug. And it is so interesting, because when we're grieving and we reconnect and we feel our loved ones in every way, when people are very deep in despair, they focus on what I call the hole in the donut. The hole in the donut being, I'm missing your physical hugs and your presence, but then they miss the entire donut, which is the surrounding of our loved one's spirit presence around us, like a big donut, protecting us and loving us. And when I can get people to jump past that impasse about the hole in the donut and allow themselves to connect, suddenly they say, I feel them hugging me. because the electromagnetic frequency of the energetic connection goes in and registers as you're hugging me. I feel it.
Yes. So yes, we have an electromagnetic field, and it extends outward from the skin. So we're, in a sense, we're kind of a body inside a bubble of an electromagnetic field of energy. And so when you're close to someone having a conversation or a chat, and your two bubbles are connecting, your two electromagnetic fields are connecting, and you're picking up a lot of energetic information in that field. A lot of scientists say we can't possibly store all the things that we know and all the memory in this brain space, because not enough space. So they're saying that the field that that surrounds us, as you said, like a donut, contains a lot of that information. And then we have this random access function that helps us retrieve information. So when people use their psychic abilities, that electromagnetic field kind of sends out a feeler to pick up information in the surroundings. And if you're become very good at it, I guess you can connect with people on the other side of the planet.
And I've been using, as you know, the Electra transdermal magnesium to help people raise their electromagnetic vibration to more easily send and receive energetic communications. I'm using it both in the transdimensional grief resolution method and in the energetic system upgrades, both. And sometimes I'll have people put it on the third eye, sometimes on the heart, sometimes on the throat to facilitate communication, and sometimes also on the pituitary, which is our receiver, our receiver to spirit. So, and it works.
Yes, it's connected with also the pineal gland, and the ancient Greeks used to say that.
Oh, I said pituitary. I said pituitary and I meant pineal. See what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to be taking a vacation. I'm not on my game right now. I said pituitary and I meant pineal, and you know what I meant, and you fixed it for me. Thank you.
It's part of that endocrine system, that hypothalamus, pituitary. So
people feel the difference. They say, oh my gosh, it's like somebody turned the light on. And when the light gets turned on, you're connected to spirit and God, and that's love.
Yes, and it's all really physical. So we're feeling energetically. That's the energy itself is a physical phenomenon. So when we're giving a physical hug, when we're very close in proximity, it's just a more condensed version of that energy. When you're doing it remotely, and when you're just using that energetic field, it has a physical impact, because it's still connecting with the same chemical messengers in the body that make you feel that hug, that make you feel warm, and the warm fuzzies, I call them. You just feel like melting. All the stress goes away, and you're in that space of love, or that oxytocin release.
Exactly. So in the last minute, let's remind everybody how to find you, how to find your wonderful products, which I don't sell, so I'm not a distributor or an affiliate, but I always refer people to you. So tell everyone how to find you.
You're a good customer, Jamie.
Well, I'm more like a good referrer,
Yes. Well, they can go to our website in Australia. So it's Electra Magnesium with a K, ELEKTRA MAGNESIUM. So electramagnesium.com.au. So remember the .au and you'll get to Australia. If you do the .com by accident, there's a redirection. But you can have a look at our website, which has lots of resources with videos, podcasts, blog articles, information on each product. So there's a whole variety of different magnesium products. There's magnesium cream, magnesium lotion, magnesium oil spray. They're all different strengths. So you would use it depending on what you need. So athletes or people doing a high capacity, high stress activities will need a stronger version. And it's
all people who are unwell. People who are unwell.
Yes, recovering requires a lot of energy. So if your immune system is a big hoover of a lot of energy, that's why when you get sick, you don't feel like eating, your digestive system, it basically shuts down. And you don't feel like going anywhere. You don't have any energy for your arms and legs to move around, because all the resources have to go to practically to the immune system. Obviously,
Right.
your heart
So
keeps
now
going and
people
your
are going to
vitamins.
turn their resources to electromagnesium.com.au and start rebuilding the energy, healing the body from the inside out, and then the skin will show these
Be
improvements.
more beautiful longer.
Exactly. All right, my darling. See you next time. Everyone take good care. I'm going to see you after August. I'm going to take a break, and I'll see you back on the first Thursday in September. Take good care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.